Hey, it's me, Jerry Handlon again, and we have another segment for the Go Show about our military personnel. You might have seen the shows on the Marine Corps and on the Army, and now today we are very fortunate to have two representatives from the recruiting station in Schaumburg of the United States Navy. And co-hosting with me, I might add, a former sailor.
Yes, sir.
My good friend Brian Burke, who is also affiliated with the Park District. He is on a couple of their volunteer advisory committees, and has been for a long, long time.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
That's another segment show in itself.
Yeah,
but we're very proud to have two members of the United States Navy with us. We have Boatswain Oberg.
Boatswain Mate Oberg.
Boatswain Mate Oberg and CMT Smith.
CTM-1 Smith.
CTM-1 Smith. I knew I was going to get that.
Try and get it right.
Yeah. Okay. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. We're very happy to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
We want to talk about the Navy and about the opportunities that the Navy offers for young people today. If someone might be interested in a man or woman thinking, you know, what am I going to do with myself? I'm out of high school or I'm out of college. What do I want to go? What do I want to do? And if they came to you, what can you tell them that the Navy would have to offer them?
Well, we get that all the time. Every single day, someone comes into the office looking to, you know, further their career, further their life, and we just tell them, you know, this is what. First, you have to qualify, and some of the qualifications are a high school education. We also have, you know, no criminal, little on like medical conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Pretty much like the three criteria is mentally, morally, and physically qualified.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of things that fall into those three criteria. But if you are ultimately mentally, morally, and physically qualified to join the Navy, then we would try to, you know, process you into the Navy and give you a career where you might excel and be able to do something good with yourself.
Yeah, and you had an interesting comment before we came on the air about the percentage of people that would not in this country would not be qualified to join the Navy.
The percentages are staggering. Up to 72% of the people in the nation are not qualified to join the Navy.
Wow.
And when you further enhance the statistics, less than 1% of the people in the nation actually join the service, whether it be the Marines, the Navy,
mm-hmm.
Air Force, Marines. So less than 1%, that's pretty small.
Yeah, really. Whew. That is incredible. So, Boatswain, you joined, how long have you been in the Navy?
I've roughly been in the Navy about a little over 5 years now.
5 years?
Currently, you know, I'm on recruiting duty,
mm-hmm.
but when I first came in, I'm originally from Door County, Wisconsin. I wasn't actually planning on joining the military, but, you know, I figured when I sat down and talked to a recruiter and, you know, told him about some of the goals I had for myself, and, you know, I kind of set my standards low, too, because, you know, I didn't want to shoot for the stars and be disappointed later on. And, you know, I achieved all those goals within the first year and a half I was in the Navy. And, you know, I was stationed in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii for about 4.5 years.
Oh, there's some good duty.
Right. Yeah, my wife and I enjoyed it.
I bet you did.
So then we came back to Illinois, where's my wife's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm enjoying what I'm doing here for Naval Recruiting District, Chicago.
Now, how long will you be in the recruiting segment or section of the Navy?
It's a 3-year tour right now.
3? The same with you?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you actually re-enlisted then once, I assume, right?
Correct, yes. I extended for my orders, which for recruiting duty.
So you originally signed up for 4 years, and then
right,
and then you of course got 4 of these, so that's 16 years plus, right?
Actually, going on 19.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
Are you going for 20 years or more?
20.
20, and then you're going to retire?
Yep.
Wow.
What else have you done in the Navy?
Oh, I've done a lot. I mean, I was initially started in 1991. I was a deck seaman, chipping barnacles off the bottom.
Start on the bottom, attaboy.
Got to start off the bottom, but I've worked on making myself a yeoman, which is like a paperwork person. Went to school for that. 10 years down the line, I decided I was going to do something different. Now I'm doing cryptologic technician.
Okay.
So.
Cryptologic technician,
Yeah.
that's part of the intelligence work and whatnot, and which is what I did when I was in the Navy. Just a fascinating part of our armed forces that a lot of people probably don't even think about much.
Right.
But
Right.
you love doing that, right?
I love
and
it.
then now you're back here doing the recruiting as well.
Yes.
Is Chief in your sights here soon? The Chief Petty Officers, of course, run the Navy like the gunny sergeants in the Marines.
They do. They're management.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible. I only have one more time to take it and see if I make it, but we'll see what happens.
Now, if you do make that, will you continue on then past 20 years?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I'll have to
okay.
look at that.
Well, now let me get to this question here. Brian and I come in, and we both are qualified through the 3 steps that you had mentioned, boasting about. we have the education, and we have no criminal backgrounds, and mentally, I'm okay. We're not too sure about that. But now we say to you, okay, we would like to join the Navy. And I have a particular interest in cooking. I've always wanted to cook. I've always wanted to be a chef.
Well, that's a lousy example. Why, ask him about computers or something.
Why?
Not cooking.
That's because I
Actually,
like
we
cooking.
just put someone in as a cook.
Oh, all right. I guess
See?
it was a good example
We
after
put in,
all.
But I want to know what
couple months ago.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just want to know what the opportunities are, and how, if I wanted to pursue that, what are my chances of pursuing it if I were to enlist in the Navy?
Well, the first step you would have to do, sir, is you'd have to take an Armed Service Vocational Aptitude Battery Scores test.
Okay.
And that's the aptitude test that's going to qualify you for military service. As long as you get the score on that test that qualifies you for the culinary specialist, which is that's a cook job in the Navy, then you will sit down, talk to a detailer or a career counselor pretty much, and she's going to pick that job for you, make sure not only that you're qualified for it, but that it's available right now, because the Navy's pretty full right now. So if it's available, it will get you orders for that, or get you that job in your contract. You go to basic training, and then after that you go to what's called an A school. That A school is going to teach you the job the Navy's going to pay you to do for them. Then after you finished up with that A school, you're going to be stationed at your first duty station. Say by instance, like it happened to Petty Officer Smith, say he came in, he picked a job, a few years down the line he didn't really necessarily like it or enjoy doing it, didn't excel at it. All you have to do is that job for 24 months, and then the Navy will give you an opportunity to switch your job.
Oh, really?
Because they really want you to come to work in the morning and enjoy yourself, and they want you're not going to do them any good, or you're not going to advance, or if you don't enjoy what you're doing.
Now, if you have a good candidate that wants to join, and they take this test, they say, I want to be into the culinary
Specialist.
Thank you. And I take the test, but it doesn't show that I would be very good at that. Instead, the test would show something else, like perhaps I'd be better in the computers, or although that would be a joke for me, or mechanics or something like that. Then you say to me, look, you didn't do very well in this section of the testing, but you did well here. Now here's the opportunities that you could pursue in that line of country, as it were.
Correct. So you do take the aptitude test. They're going to look at your line scores. They're going to break down what areas you excelled in. And then when the job counselor is going to talk to you about, well, you didn't necessarily do good enough, or you didn't do, that wasn't your strong suit, being a culinary specialist, but these options are available for you. We think you do better in those. Say if that person is just adamant and they really want to be a culinary specialist, the road doesn't stop there. They'll have the opportunity to either retest, or we can try to open it up for them, depending on what the time frame is.
Now, is there a time period that's standard, or is it pretty open as far as I sign up? Like, okay, I passed everything, I passed the test, and I signed the contract. How long do I have before I'm actually going to boot camp?
Well,
roughly speaking?
you actually pick that date. It
Oh, I
can
do?
actually be anywhere from a month to about 9 months.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they try to work with you as much as possible. Obviously there's only one basic training for the Navy, which is in Great Lakes, Illinois, for the entire nation. So everybody who joins in the whole nation all has to come to Illinois.
Okay.
Say if you have a ship date for basic training that's 6 months out, but you really want to ship earlier, you can put a request in to ship earlier, and if a slot opens up because a certain individual might not be able to ship on their ship date, that that you can take their seat and go for them. So they try to get you to basic training in the the time frame that you'd like.